Today, I'm going to take you through the process of making Nigerian chin chin. So, these are the ingredients. I use Siemens butter, 250 grams of Siemens butter. You can see it's written here, 250 grams. I use one sachet. And then 1 kilo of all-purpose flour. I use quarter sugar. I use milk flavor powder. And then I use half sachet of nutmeg. I used the nutmeg before. Then I added baking powder, 1 tablespoon, and vanilla extract, 2 tablespoons of the liquid one, and then 4 eggs. So these are the ingredients that I use for the chin chin. So I'm going to break the eggs and then add the vanilla to it, and then I'm going to sieve the all-purpose flour using this filter. I started by breaking the 4 eggs into a bowl, and then I added 2 tablespoons of vanilla to it. Then I whisk it. So if you don't have a whisk, you can use your fork. But if you have a whisk, then go ahead and whisk it. Next, I'm going to add all the dry ingredients together. So first of all, I sieved the flour into a bowl. Next, I measured in the sugar, the amount of sugar that I wanted to make use of. This is granulated sugar. So you just measure according to your taste. For this, I use one full and then one leveled one. This I'll find out the actual measurement of this. I don't think it's up to 250. I think maybe 200 or so. So that was what I did. So the sugar that I bought, I just measured according to my taste. So next, I added the baking powder. Okay, this one they already tied it. So when I measured it, I realized that it was a teaspoon and not 1 tablespoon as I earlier mentioned. So after that, I just mix a little and then added the nutmeg. I use this nutmeg to cook before, so the leftover is what I'm using now. After measuring it, it amounted to a teaspoon. So this is the powder nutmeg. If you have the other one, you can also buy it and grind it or grate it. But this is the one that I use. So I added the nutmeg to it. And then next was the milk flavor. This milk flavor is 100 grams in weight. So I added one sachet of 100-gram milk flavor to the bowl. So the next thing now is that we're going to just stir everything together to make sure that it is well incorporated before we go to the next step. So one thing you must do when making chin chin is that before you start, you must wash your hands, because you're going to be making use of your hands. You must wash your hands thoroughly to make sure that it is clean. So into the bowl that have all the dry ingredients, I added the butter to it, the Siemens butter. I just use the scissors. That is a kitchen scissors. It's not just anyhow scissors to cut the sachet. And then I press it to bring out all the butter. I'm using my fingers here or my hands here because my hands are clean. Next step is to mash the butter with all the ingredients together. The flour, the sugar, the nutmeg, the milk flavor, and all the baking powder. So I'll use my hand to mash everything together. So I'm going to be fast forward now to make it fast. So once our mixture looks like crumbs or fine sand, it's now time to add the egg mixture. Remember our egg and vanilla mixture. So just put a hole at the center of the bowl and then pour in the egg and vanilla mixture. We are still going to work with our hands. We're going to use our hands to mix everything together into a one dough and then mold into smaller balls, maybe 6 or 7, depending on how many I'm going to form. So this will take a while. Just take your time and mix it properly and then form balls from it. Okay, make sure that they are well incorporated. Make sure that everything is mixed together. Take your time. So when you are satisfied with what you have mixed, next thing is to mold them into balls, into smaller balls, maybe like 6 or 7, depending on the quantity you are working with. Just mold them into smaller balls. So after doing this, we are going to cover it up for about 10 minutes for the dough to rest before we go to the next stage. So this is what the dough balls look like. I'm going to cover it up for 10 minutes. I'll cover it then leave it for 10 minutes. So this is it after 10 minutes. The next stage is the kneading and the cutting stage. So you're going to get the cutting board that you're going to use, add some flour to the surface, so this will prevent the dough from sticking to it. And then you also get a roller, a wooden roller. Then also rub flour on it. If you don't have a roller, you can always improvise by using a bottle. Okay, so after rubbing the flour on it, next you pick one of the ball and then use the roller to nail it or to spread it out. Okay, you just spread it out to the thickness that you want, not too thin, not too fat, in short according to your choice. So this is what I was doing here, just nailing it and spreading it out. So once you have your desired thickness, the next thing is to get a cutter, to cut it into shapes. If you do not have a cutter, pizza cutter, you can always use your kitchen knife. As you can see, I'm using my kitchen knife here. So there is no hard and fast rule with how to cut it. It just depends on your preference, your size, the shape, everything depends on you. So you can be creative. There were some that we cut square square, there were some that we cut like triangle. Just do something, just be creative at this point. Okay, just go ahead. The cutting of the dough will take some time, especially if you are doing it alone. But if you have somebody to help you out, then the process can become faster. All you just have to do is just to nail it out and then give it to the person that is going to cut for you. If not, you have to cut everything yourself and it will take quite some time. But just be patient. With time, everything will be ready. So after cutting, get a tray and then pour the cut dough into the tray. Okay, I also added flour to the tray, but then I think this one was not really too necessary because the flour made some of the dough to foam. So if your tray is clean and it won't stick, then there's no need to add flour to the tray. Just go ahead and put the dough on it, and then we go to the next step, or we go to the next batch rather. So what you have done now is what you are going to do to all the dough. So you can just finish cutting everything before you now start frying, because if you say you want to cut and fry, that one may waste your time. So first of all, just finish all the process of cutting first, then before you now move to frying. So the same process, nail the dough, spread it out, then start cutting. After cutting, move it to a tray. That's what you're going to do for all the dough until everything is ready. So we are through with all the cutting. These are all the dough cut out into different shapes. So the next thing we are moving to frying. So you get your pan, is deep frying, so you need plenty of oil, and then if possible get a non-stick pan. Pour in the amount of oil that you want and then allow it to be hot before you start frying. You can do a test. Okay, this oil that I put was not enough. I later added to it. So it's time to test the oil if it is hot enough. So just put in a few of the cut dough and see if it starts frying, then you know that it's hot enough, and then you can now begin to add others to it. You can use your spoon or whatever you want, the frying, forgotten what they call it. But when I was putting the dough into the fire, I used my hand so that I can also as well separate them. Okay, so that's why you see me using my hands. If you want to use a wooden spatula or a frying spatula, feel free to do what is convenient for you. Okay, So after putting in the, of course, you have to check it at intervals, to see if it's frying well, and to also turn it, to for the other side to fry. So if you have plenty of oil, then you don't need to do so much turning, because once you put it, all the parts of the dough will fry at once. But you need to check it so that it doesn't get burnt. So from time to time, you have to stir. You can see what I'm using to stir, so you can use it to stir it, from time to time, to make sure that it does not get burnt. And then you will know when it is ready, when it is golden brown, you will see it. So our first batch is ready. As you can see, the color, very beautiful color. So I'll just go ahead, put it in a filter, after which I transfer it to a tray. And then I'm going to repeat the whole process until I finish frying everything. If you notice that the oil volume is going down, then you add more vegetable oil and then continue frying. If you notice that it's getting as if it's burning, you can see some of them was getting burned, then you reduce the heat. So our chin chin is ready. You spread it out on a tray for it to cool down before you pack it. So you see some of them, this one was too hot. You see the color. You see this one, the oil here was just too hot. So you have to regulate it, so it doesn't get burnt. But look at these beautiful ones here. So next is packaging. So you get your bowl like this and just pack it up. So as your visitors come, then you can take a bowl out and pour some into a pan or whatever. You can give it out like this. This is Joy's Kitchen and Wellness. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.